Welcome to rSlash Am I the Butthole, where OP is being pressured into marrying her cousin. Am I the butthole for yelling at my aunt after she kept pressuring me to marry her son? I'm a 24-year-old woman from Pakistan. Here, cousin marriages are common, and my aunt keeps pressuring me to marry her son, who's 25, ever since I was a teen. My aunt would start making jokes such as, "You'd make a good daughter-in-law," or "You and my son would make a good couple," etc. I used to brush it off back then, ignore it and such, hoping it would stop, but it never did. Instead, it started becoming more common. She started doing it every time we met, and I've shut her down politely every time, saying I'm not interested and it won't ever happen. My mom knew how much it bothered me. She didn't want to disrespect her elders, so she kept quiet and only spoke about it in private when my aunt messaged her. My mom told me to keep quiet and ignore it because she won't let it happen. This was very uncomfortable. This whole thing gave my cousin some wrong ideas because he started messaging me in private saying things like, "We're getting married in the future, so why aren't you talking to me now?" I would just ghost him and ignore his messages. Just a few years ago, I lost my temper at a family gathering after my aunt said, "You're all grown up now. When are you going to marry him? Our decision is final." This strong feeling of ick and cringe just made me lash out. I yelled at my aunt, calling her stupid for not listening to me and not understanding what no means. I used mild swear words as well, and it was a whole heated argument. To end the argument, my brother had to physically carry me out of the house, where I had a breakdown and we all just left her house. My mom was hurt by this a lot, and I could feel the pain in her voice whenever we spoke about this. She said she just wishes I handled it differently. After this came a series of unwanted toxicity and drama. My aunt yelled at my mom, making her look like a terrible person for letting that happen and cut off all ties. She influenced mom's oldest sister and brother to do the same. My cousin got married to someone else, and we found out about it through someone else. He got married and divorced just later that year, and somehow my aunt managed to partially blame me and my mom for that divorce, even though we played no part in it. My mom deals with her siblings often, and sometimes they drag her into drama. I've seen her cry in her room alone because of this, and it makes me feel bad. I feel like I should have done better or done things differently for the sake of my mom. All this toxicity and drama would have been avoided if I did things different. I feel like this doesn't really need to be said to anyone, but you shouldn't be forced to marry someone at all, ever, for any reason, especially if you're blood relatives. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your aunt, let's say 2 out of 5 buttholes, and I'm also inclined to give your mom 1 out of 5 buttholes because she really didn't do much to protect you from this nonstop harassment. Am I the butthole for yelling at a 19-year-old and asking him to be fired? I'm a 37-year-old guy, and my husband is 39. We've been together 11 years. My husband owns a small bookshop and recently has hired a boy to help him. This guy, Joe, is gay, and while me and my husband very obviously have no issues with this, Joe seems to do things a lot differently than us. For context, me and my husband are Irish immigrants to London. We grew up 20 minutes away from each other and went to the same, very Catholic, school. We aren't exactly flamboyantly or outwardly gay, and don't exactly do public displays of affection, since that's how we were raised. On my lunch break from work, I like to visit my husband, bringing him records I think he might like and his coffee. Recently, however, Joe has started making comments. It started small, with him saying things about queer joy and how he loves gay couples, which we didn't mind at all. In all fairness, it's a fairly scary world for queer people right now, and I understand seeing a happy married gay couple means a lot for a kid. But then, he started getting a little too comfortable for my liking. He started asking things like, "Who's the top?" and calling us the F slur jokingly. I think it's entirely inappropriate to be making those comments to your boss, but my husband told me to let it go. Joe calls us the F slur a lot, which I'd brought up a few times telling him calmly to not do that. But when he continued, I learned to let it go despite my distaste for it, since it didn't seem to bother my husband too much. But last Wednesday, I lost it. I was up by the counter when Joe came in. He immediately started blathering on about how effity we were, and while my husband chuckled awkwardly, I did not. Joe noticed this and said that I was a stick in the mud and repressed. I was trying to keep my cool until he called me a Fenian F-slur. What is Fenian? For anyone who doesn't know, the term Fenian isn't exactly a slur or anything, but it isn't exactly nice either. Me and my husband jokingly call each other Fenians or Paddies from time to time if we've done something particularly Irish. And I've never exactly viewed it as a very offensive word to me, but something about this English boy made me snap. I asked him if he thought that it was an appropriate thing to say to his boss's partner and started shouting, telling him he's way out of play and if he wants to keep his job, he should buck up. I left to cool down a bit, and 30 minutes later got a call from my husband berating me, saying that Joe was crying and that he's just a kid. I do feel really bad since he's only young, but I still think he needed to be knocked down a step or two. Am I the butthole? Yeah, you can call a 19-year-old a kid. I think that's somewhat reasonable, but also 19 is old enough to understand that actions have consequences. And if he's going to start throwing around slurs and people say, hey, stop calling me slurs, but he keeps doing it, then there will inevitably be consequences. Then OP posted an update. Oh, okay, Joe is my husband's son. I won't go too much into the details for both my and their privacy, but I had a major fight with my husband about why he was being so lenient with him and why he didn't have my back in this. We were shouting back and forth until he shouted something about blood being thicker than water. I shout back about him being just some boy, and he stopped suddenly. Then he told me. Joe is from an ex-girlfriend of his who is now unable to take care of him, so my husband picked up. He's been paying child support for years. We each have our separate bank accounts, so I didn't even notice. I'm contemplating separation and divorce. Someone I've known for 25 years became a stranger in 10 seconds. I physically got sick thinking back on those sexual remarks that he made to his father. My husband always went white as a ghost when he said those kinds of things, and that was possibly the only thing he actually gave out for him, but it makes me feel sick all the same. Sounds like Joe doesn't know that this is his father. So OP's husband is keeping all kinds of secrets from all kinds of people. OP, you clearly get 0 out of 5 buttholes here. Joe gets 1 out of 5 buttholes. And your husband? Gosh, I think I'm going to give him 4 out of 5 buttholes because this is a pretty major secret to hide from your husband of 11 years. I guess I could understand not telling someone that you have a kid, but then when the kid is in your face, working with you every single day, at that point, it's time to take your partner aside and be like, hey, by the way, this is my kid, right? Am I the butthole for getting my sister arrested after she destroyed my clothes? So I'm a 24-year-old woman, and I live with my younger sister who's 21 while we both save up for our own places. It's been mostly fine, but lately, she's been acting super jealous and petty over the dumbest stuff, especially my clothes. I work a decent job and I like fashion. I save up and occasionally treat myself to nice things. Think Zara, Abercrombie, nothing outrageous, but definitely stuff she doesn't buy herself. She constantly borrows my clothes without asking. I've asked her to stop multiple times, even put a lock on my closet door, which she broke. Last week was the final straw. I came home from work and found a pile of my clothes, my favorite leather jacket, some designer jeans, a silk dress I wore once, all shredded and slashed up on the floor, like someone went full slasher movie on them. My heart dropped. I asked her what happened, and she just smirked and said, maybe now you'll stop acting like you're better than everyone else. I completely lost it. I called the police and filed a report. She thought that I was bluffing until the cops actually showed up. I showed them the damage, the receipts for the clothes. I keep most of them for returns or resale, and the broken closet lock. She was arrested for property damage. Now, my parents are freaking out, saying I took it too far and that she's just a kid, and that families shouldn't call the cops on each other. But I've had enough. This wasn't an accident or a dumb prank. This was straight up malicious. So, am I the butthole for pressing charges against my own sister? Aw, poor little sister got arrested for destroying other people's property. Well, now she can go live with OP's parents if they're so concerned about her. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister 2 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for choosing my roommate's business over a big family reunion after how my family acted? About 3 years ago, I left my ex. He wasn't a horrible guy or anything, but I was unhappy. He was obsessed with a video game and did some weird things on it. We had a dead bedroom and he wouldn't work on it, and we just shifted into roommates, really. I didn't have enough saved for my own place, but I knew if I didn't leave, I'd end up stuck. I'd asked members of my family if I could stay with them until I had things figured out, and I had a plan for roughly 1 month, up to 2 months. They all declined, so I lived in my car for a while. My family is big on pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, no handouts, accept the consequences of your choices, etc., so I wasn't surprised. I didn't have local friends to ask. Thankfully, after a few months, my high school friend, Penny, moved back to town and invited me to be her roommate, and that's where I am now. Now for the conflict. My mom asked me what I was doing in August because they were trying to get everyone to Florida for a family reunion. They'd made reservations and things under the assumption that I would go. A while ago, Penny asked me if I could help her out at craft fairs this year. She does 10 to 15 of them, and it's a big to-do. She sells gorgeous jewelry and ceramics. I gladly accept it. I told my mom that I had plans over the summer and I wouldn't be able to come. She got angry with me and asked me what plans could be better than a trip to Florida. I explained what I'd be doing, and she scoffed. She told me this was probably the last time we'd all get to be with some of the older family. She said that I have no sense of familial obligation. Suddenly, there's a family obligation for me to pay to travel to Florida and spend time with people who wouldn't even help me out when I needed it. I went to family dinners where at the end of the night, I'd leave and go sleep in my car in the Walmart parking lot and nobody blinked. I brought that up to my mom, and she immediately said that my own bad choices are why I ended up living in my car, and they weren't required to coddle me as a grown woman. I said it goes both ways. She said I was being a petty brat. I ended the call. My sister later called me about it and asked me what my problem was and why I'm still holding ancient grudges against the rest of them and how this trip was supposed to be a big reset for the family. I do know that there are a few members of my family I probably won't see again if I don't go. This is the main reason I wonder if I'm just holding on to hurt or if it's justified for me to do this. Am I the butthole for not going to the family reunion and picking my roommate instead? So from a just objective standpoint, OP, if you're so poor that if you're struggling so much that you're living in a car and you kind of had to be saved by this friend, then you don't need to be spending money on plane tickets and a hotel room. So even if you did desperately want to go, it's a bad idea. But outside of that, why do you want to go to this family reunion? Because it sounds like none of your family likes you, and it sounds like you don't particularly like them either. So maybe this will be a grand reset for your family. Getting rid of the old family and getting a new found family. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your family members 1 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for refusing to give money to my brother to save his daughter? I refused to give $100,000 to my brother to fund his legal custody battle. My brother called out of the blue one day. We've been living in different countries for many years, and we're often not in touch. He's been going through a divorce and custody battle for a long time. The divorce is really ugly. But he and his ex-wife are extremely similar. Stubborn, argumentative, and always right. They're both ex-army. So my brother asked me for $100,000. Specifically, it's for the newest set of lawyers, quote, to conduct a last all-out custody battle. He explained it like a military strategy and explained that it's a last stand and about showing strength. According to his lawyers, it's completely unwinnable, not recommended, a waste of time, and he's better off accepting the hard truth and saving the money. I personally agree with the lawyers based on what I was told by my brother, yet he insists it's the only thing left to do. He also said there's no way he could pay it back. My view, if it's life or death, then yes, but it's not, and it would only hurt everyone making this last stand. This guy, OP's brother, is the world's worst salesman. Hey, I need $100K for something that will not work, and all the experts are telling me not to do this, and I'm not doing it for the right reasons. I'm doing it because I want to appear strong. So anyways, I take Venmo, cash, credit, anything really. $100K, please. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. You'd have to be a moron, a 2 IQ, bug-brained idiot to go with this plan. I'm giving your brother, 1 out of 5 buttholes. He's not so much a butthole as he is just really, really stupid and stubborn. That was rSlash Am I the Butthole? And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.